My advice would be to figure out your why before you start your business, and whatever it is, make sure it's outside of money, because the why is going to be what keeps you going. So if the money's not coming in, if you're new and you're not getting sales, figure out that list of why you're doing this, whether it be freedom to take your kid to school every day or be able to just go to Cheesecake Factory on a Monday and shop. That's literally my fantasy. Entrepreneurship is not the faint-hearted, and it gets difficult, but knowing why you're doing it is going to be what pushes you forward.
You're listening to Ecomonics, a Debutify podcast, your resource for one-of-a-kind insights into the world of e-commerce and business in the modern age. This is Joseph. I'll be presenting a wealth of industry knowledge from interviews with successful business people and our own state-of-the-art research. Your time is valuable, so let's go. Ebony Hunter, it is good to have you here on Ecomonics. Nice to meet you. How are you doing today? How are you feeling?
Nice to meet you too. I'm super excited to be here, so thank you for having me.
It's a great honor to talk to you. It's a great honor to really talk to anybody, and I continue to be amazed at no matter how much I unearth about the e-commerce space, there's always another element to bring to the table, another piece to add to the puzzle. And spoiler alert, today is going to be in the clothing niche, which, okay, I before I was saying we didn't talk to anybody about it, but we did talk to somebody who's like in the fashion retail industry, but so we kind of covered it, but we still have a long way to go. So with that, tell us what you do and what you're up to these days.
All right. So like he said, my name is Ebony. I am from Florida. I currently live in the Orlando area. I'm an entrepreneur. So I currently own a women's clothing boutique called Ebb and Flow. I'm also a content creator, YouTuber, and from there I have a million other things that I dabble in. But right now my main focus is my boutique, which I launched last August. And things have been really crazy since then. So it's been a really exciting journey so far. This is actually my second venture into the clothing world. My first was a t-shirt line in 2017. And I stopped that venture and eventually came into my boutique and was pretty much planning on opening a boutique from that point until now.
And when I hear a boutique, I do immediately go to the thought of a physical location. I don't know if you have a physical location at the moment. Are you strictly online? Is physical retail part of the overall plan at some point?
It's online now. I go back and forth with if I want to have a physical location eventually, but right now it's strictly online. I don't know if I want to be tied down to anything like that in the near future, but who knows what happens in 5 years.
Yeah. Now is not like, it's not the ideal time to do it, even under normal circumstances are one thing, but the circumstances we're dealing with, a whole other story. Also, I just want you to know, to anybody who's a Floridian that I interview, super jealous. My girlfriend and I, we're slowly trying to rev up for more of like the nomadic lifestyle, and I mean slowly, to the point where I might die before I pull it off. But Florida is like one of the places that we talk about wanting to go to, because it's Canada right now, and the weather has gotten nice, but it lasts for like a week, and then we're back to long johns and saying, no, don't double cup our Timmy's coffee. Half the point is just warming our hands.
Yeah.
So what's one thing people don't usually know about Florida? If you don't mind sharing something interesting about it, and then we'll get into the clothing stuff. I promise. But I haven't been to Florida since I was a kid. Yeah.
One thing people are surprised about is certain parts of Florida have a fall and a winter. More of a Florida version of that, but we do get cooler weather. I'm in the Orlando area, so we do have cooler weather in the October, November timeframe. But I'm actually from North Florida, Panama City, and it gets cold, maybe not like Canada cold, but it definitely gets to the point where you need sweaters, sometimes a coat. Sometimes there is a risk of snow there. So people are surprised to know that it's not sunny year round and not hot year round.
Well, because whenever people think of Florida, they think of that outgrowth from the bottom side that's surrounded by water, but it also goes northwards into some of the mainland of the U.S. And also for people who are just wondering, there's Canada weather and then there's Toronto weather. Toronto weather, like, it's cold, but not cold enough that we're allowed to complain to anybody outside of Toronto. We have people
Oh
who are
no.
just like 5 minutes north of Toronto, and they're and they got like triple layers, and they're hunting bears, and so we just
Oh
have no right
wow.
to complain outside the city. I might ask you another Florida question.
Oh
We'll
yeah, I'm
circle back
ready.
to it. Yeah. I'll chamber it. I might bring it up later. I'll see how long I can restrain myself. Okay, you can do this, Joseph. So you set up a previous store, and I guess what I wanted to know is in aggregate, what was the e-commerce journey, and like what did you think you were going to be up to, or was this always how you kind of saw things playing out? And what were I guess, some of the barriers or what you ran into with that store that caused its closure?
I have always been a creative person, and I've always kind of doodled and made little designs of everything. So naturally, I wanted to go into a t-shirt brand. So at the time, t-shirt graphic tees were very popular, and like a lot of people were starting similar ventures. So I went into it without really knowing what all would go into not just owning a business, but also running a fashion business and doing e-commerce. So I was more so trying to rush to get it ready. My only reason for doing it was, yes, I was having fun doing it, but I wanted to make money. I was in a situation where I was like, I need money. I need to get my own place. I need to get a car, blah, blah, blah. And I always tell people now, like, don't ever go into something just for the money, because if the money doesn't come, you're not going to continue on. And that business was really not strategic. I wasn't intentional with what I was doing. It was just like, just kind of going off, which granted, at that time, there really weren't too many people I could go to see who's done it before and how to do it and what I should be doing. So it was really more so something that needed to happen for me to know what to carry into my boutique today.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. I mean, there's a lot of lessons that we learn from just jumping into it. More lessons learned than just sitting around wondering what it's going to be like, versus actually starting it up and understanding more intuitively, what it's going to take. So I say, I've been in e-commerce proper for close to a year now, thanks to my work with this company, but I've been taking cracks at it all my life. Like trying to set up web comics, trying to set up different operations in here or there, and it, yeah, without like a solid plan or really a concrete strategy, it doesn't go anywhere. So
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. So with your store right now, and again for our audience, is everybody who's listening to this going to set up a clothing store? I don't know. I want to tell people how to live their life, but what we do want to do is understand as much as each niche as we possibly can. And so we have a clothing expert on the show today. So it's best to capitalize on that. So, okay. So we start broad, right? You have clothing, pets, you have the broad terms for it. And we're more specific than that in this case. So how would you characterize your niche, and given how prevalent clothing is in the market, how do you differentiate with the clothing that you sell?
So my main thing when I went into Ebb and Flow was I wanted clothes that made people feel comfortable, but still weren't just sweatpants or just stretchy loungewear types of things, which granted, it launched in the height of the pandemic. So a lot of people were looking for those things, but I know for myself, I'm curvy. So I always had a hard time finding clothes that didn't just look good on the mannequin. Like putting them on, it didn't fit my body. So I put a lot of time and effort into finding things that do have some form of stretch where it's gonna naturally form to each person's body where it is now. I don't want people to buy my items and then say, well, I need to lose 10 pounds before I can wear this, or I'm gonna look good whenever I do this. Like I want them to wear it today and feel great in it and know they look good now. So what sets it apart is it's not just gonna look good on a certain body type. It's meant to fit a range of body types. With maybe you have a belly, maybe you have bigger thighs, maybe you don't have any of those things. I am offering things that are going to cover all of those body types.
Yeah, I mean, I have a number of shirts that I wear, and I think someday I won't look like a hospital patient in these. Someday I'll grow into it, and then there's the other ones where I did grow into it, and now I look like like it's the shirts are too tight, and I can, I
Yeah.
barely have my mobility. So, I was looking, at the website to understand it as intuitively as I could, and it didn't actually occur to me that much of the problems that you're solving is in the function and in the material of it, which gives way to style. Because I think, now, I'm not the expert on clothing, but I think style is usually the first thing that comes to mind, and then when they're looking for something that's functional, if it happens to be stylish, great, but people
Yeah.
don't really care about that, right? You just talking about loungewear and sweatpants and all the stereotypes that come with people who put on sweatpants and they go
Right.
shopping and stuff like that. I guess I'm digging deeper into this. So the clothing itself is, how's it sourced, how's it vetted? I guess I take it you're doing a lot of testing yourself, making sure that if it works for you, then it's going to work for your market.
Most of my clothing comes from vendors in LA, in the marketplace there. And yes, I test every single thing. One thing that I've started doing is wearing something just out normally. So if I'm going to brunch or if I'm going to any kind of event, I just wear it and then I post a picture on my story, kind of get the reactions from there. And then eventually they see, oh, wow, this is like for her boutique. So it's definitely style based, but anyone can sell clothes that look good. I want you to actually feel good in the items as well. So I make sure it's comfortable. I don't want anything that's going to be too constricting because I want people to be able to enjoy their life and have fun. If you're buying something for a vacation, I don't want you to feel like you can't enjoy your margarita on the
Mm.
beach because the item is uncomfortable. You can't wait to go home and put on sweatpants. So yeah, it's definitely a mix of both, a blend of style as well as functionality and comfort.
Yeah, I mean, when people are going on vacations, myself included, a lot of people, they have like 2 weeks to
Yeah,
to make it count, and any little thing that can go wrong will significantly. It takes people out of that mindset of relaxation and
yeah,
like, can I just go 2 weeks without having to solve any major problems? I remember like last time I was going to go to my family took us to Punta Cana. Only time we ever like went to a resort or anything like that. I broke my MP3 player on the way over. I
oh
was
no,
devastated because
yeah,
I just had this plan. I'm just going to lay back and listen to my tunes, and that's it. And I was broken. And yeah, that little thing had like a
it
significant
affects
impact
it.
on it. So so there's two things that I wanted to branch off here, and both of them, I guess, in the social area. So one of them is like, what kind of feedback that you're really getting from your customers, and how you're able to, utilize it to continue raising awareness. We're in like the user generated content realm.
Sure. So most of my customers, they will always say, "This was so comfortable." That's the one thing I always get. And another thing I always get is, "Someone said I look good," or "I got so many compliments in this," or "This feels like I'm wearing nothing." I love that one. So a lot of the people that do shop with me, it is they are getting the benefits that I'm intending. So I do highlight on comfort, I highlight on stretch, I highlight on this fit me, or this made me feel like I can walk into any room and just own it. So that's a lot of the feedback that I get. It's very positive. So it definitely helps me build more of my messaging, and my subject lines have been on point from those reviews.
Yeah,
So yeah.
because you have unique advantages in the clothing space because, okay, let me just use for instance, if I purchase a cup of coffee and you get the brand recognition of it, everybody knows which ones I'm thinking of, but I've given them so much airtime. I'm not saying them out loud this time, uh, but the brand recognition, people walking around with it, and unless they have a reusable cup, they might have it a little bit longer. But for the most part, people they drink it, they toss it away. Clothing, not so much. Clothing, people can have that on for hours, and so it's
Exactly.
constantly making an impact on people around the room. And I guess I thought I was going to do this later, but I'll just tag it in now. How you can get your audience to really participate in promoting it. You have like a referral program, and people see it, and I don't think it's just the style. I
Yeah.
think it also has a lot to do with the attitude that the effect that it's really having on the person, because they don't just see the clothing, they see the person wearing it, and the positive impact that it's having.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we do have a referral program. And interestingly enough, my audience really isn't motivated by discounts. So it's more like I'm just earning points for this thing and that's cool, but I genuinely want to shop here. So I've ran sales before and no one shops with the promo code. So I'm like, you guys really just enjoy the items. So just really building off of that. And then, sorry, I forgot your question.
No worries. Just overall, getting the audience, getting the customers to really participate in it, and just making each customer count as an asset, and how they're able to, convey the brand on a personality level, as well as just the attractiveness of the clothing itself.
Yeah. So they actually, I repost my customers, but I really came into this wanting everyone to feel like they weren't just a customer. So I take a lot of time with my packaging. I write handwritten notes and just make people feel like they're shopping with a real person and not just a Target or Forever 21, because they could just easily go shop with them. So if you're choosing to shop with a smaller business, it's for whatever reason they have. But I really take a lot of time to make sure the customers feel like a person and not just a number. So even the messaging is very relaxed and, hey girl, are you shopping for this, and that, stuff like that, to make it more personable than any other brand.
So I think that's always been one of the key advantages to having more of an up and coming brand, because you referenced Forever 21, and they got retail chains all over the place. They have their massive supply chain, their massive network. And the higher a brand scales, I think the more difficult it is to convey that person to person relationship, for two reasons. One is because they have to sell to more people to even stay in business, which means that they end up condensing their customers into more of an avatar rather than really looking at each individual. And then the second is that the bigger the company, the more BS it looks like their message is. Like, yeah, we really care. Like, we're recording this right now, and there's all of a sudden like a lot of rainbows going around, and I'm like, yeah, that's helpful. Thank you, Call of Duty. Yeah, this is exactly what I was thinking about. And yeah, some people take to it. I've even taken to it in the past, but it also comes across as, yeah, okay, this is just like another marketing strategy. Thanks very much. Can I just buy my 3-pack of underwear and go?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
there's a lot of challenges with that, and I'm wondering about how this reflects on maybe like your plan to scale. Do you see a ideal top of the mountain, or at what level you think would be the optimal place for your business to operate, or do you want world domination? Like, what do you want to do about it?
That's a great question.
Thank you. I worked hard on
it. Yeah, I mean, I do want the brand to grow, and I want it to be a huge brand and scale into other entities. So men, kids, anything like that. I wouldn't necessarily want it to get to the point where it becomes a Target or a Walmart or H&M because of that personality that I have now. Not saying as I continue to grow, I will be able to respond to every single customer and write notes in every single package, but making sure I integrate certain practices with eventually hiring a team to make sure they respond to every comment or respond to every DM, and maybe a team to write notes. I don't know. But just thinking of the basic ideas that I'm using now, and then eventually upgrading them into be able to serve a larger scale of people.
So, and this is something that I would imagine everybody should take into account, is like a lot of up and coming brands, they struggle with this. It reminds me of this documentary I saw a number of years ago now about beer. It was called Beer Wars, and they were kind of having that same thing. Is that, like, if we continue to grow, are we going to lose? Are we going to even lose the quality of the product? Are we going to be able to source the same amount of material? So people have a lot of these interesting challenges, and that's why I think boutique is such a fascinating strategy as well as a term, is because it allows for there to be more control over the supply, but not control over the demand. Because if the demand is 10x what it is now and the lineups are 10x longer, that's great. people love that. And so I think that's my takeaway, is that if I set up a boutique, it's because I'm always conscious of how much a supply there is, and more isn't necessarily better. It's about maintaining what rules I've established early on, and just having a healthy approach to that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I work to not get so obsessed with the idea of, oh my gosh, I didn't put a letter in this person's package, because you're not going to be able to. If you have 50 orders, you're not going to be able to sit and write, because people just want the package. Usually the note's a nice touch, but they really don't care about it. But keeping those same principles in mind as I continue to grow, and just thinking of how I can serve better, and what's important to my customer is getting their packages and having nice quality items and great customer service, versus the little tiny details that are super important to me that they may not even be noticing.
Okay, well, I mean, on that note, have you collected any data one way or another that supports or refutes committing time into, say, that level of communication?
As far as the positives, I do get a lot of comments on the customer service and quick responses. One thing that I do put a lot of time in, or I used to, that I don't get any comments on, is the packaging itself outside of the little note. They don't really care about the package insert, the color of the packaging, anything like that. It's more so they take a picture of the note and the item. So it's give and take of taking my emotions out of things, because when you have your own business, it's your baby. You want to treat it like a baby. You do all these things, but you have to also think of the people. So this is a brand for the people, not for me. So what's important to them is not going to be the most important to me. So it's interesting to see what they actually point out to me later on after they do get their packages.
I think some of it has to do with the frequency by which people receive packages. Like, pretty much every other day, my girlfriend and I, we get a text message saying that a parcel has been dropped off in our locker. And last week we received 2 notifications at once that we had two parcels, and it was like Christmas. So
Yeah.
I run downstairs, I enter in the code, and then the first one opens up and nothing was in there. I was devastated.
Yeah. It's exciting.
It is, but then once it's out of the package, we have received so many boxes. Like, we've received so many. It starts to feel like it's the packaging that's more saturated than the product itself. So that's a hard a factor to this to really think about, because we would want the packaging to be distinct and to really stand out. We would want to convey ourselves and make sure people really understand what our idea is. And it can be hard to let that go. So it really just comes down to, like, okay, these are the facts. This is what the data shows. This is what the customers are. And, like, disassociating myself from, am I serving people or am I serving myself?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So if anyone's listening, you might need to don't worry about the packaging. Make it look good, but it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, with my store, the insert that I'm working on right now is strictly utilitarian, in that, here's how to use the product correctly. If you don't use this correctly, then you should have read the thing. So
Exactly.
so there's an element to that too. I think for me, if I were to do that, one side of the card would be like, me conveying myself on a personal level. Here's my brand. Here's why I mean it. Flip it around. Okay, here's how you don't screw this up.
Right. Exactly. That's all they need.
Okay, so I wanted to get back to talking about your about how this works on the social media front, and again, so we talked about how the customers can be, and what is your preferred term for them? Because I know customers, you don't exactly want to think of them like that, like patrons, fans.
They are customers. I mean, they're shopping, so customers.
We just roll with it. So we know what the customers are up to, but. I also appreciate that this is something that you are doing, and I think what's really key here for our audience to understand is this is something I would say naturally integrated into your own lifestyle. So it's not like you have to go out of your way to wear clothing outdoors or anywhere for that matter. You all you have to do is you'll take a photo. Many people do this just for the sake of it, or even if they're not chasing clout, they just take photos of themselves because they just like it. So what I think is really keen about this on a strategic level is how it it's not very demanding of a person's energy, because you don't have to like step out of your routine, you don't have to shift gears. This is just like a natural thing. So can you I guess, can you just tell us like how it's set up, like what's your flow for this? So you take a photo, does it just go onto Instagram, or how is it disseminated through it so that it's as valuable as an asset as it can be?
Yeah, so my background is in a lot of influencing. So I did a lot of content creation for brands. And with that, I've always been into fashion. So I've always been taking pictures of my outfits. And that background helped me learn what people want. So for the most part, people would ask, where'd you get that outfit? And kind of carrying that over into my boutique. So it's like you're looking at an influencer's profile in a sense. So usually it starts with something on my personal page, usually a boomerang or something on my story small. And then from there, I do photo shoots with my tripod. And usually they're more of like lifestyle settings. So I've started going outside more and doing pictures by myself, videos, and just getting those ideas from other brands I've seen and how they show a product and what's made me want to buy a product as a customer. So if it's something is stretchy, I like seeing the person actually stretch the item out on camera or twirl around and show me the back of it. Like, is it gonna fit the way it looks from the front? And so really making the photos be, yeah, they're for the aesthetic and all of that, but really I want to show you the item. I want to show you how it flows. If it's something that flows really well, I want you to see the wind blowing and see, kind of put the person in the lifestyle of whatever lifestyle they're living with that item on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can only say it so many times before people should understand how like little I know about, fashion and clothing and stuff like that. But for the longest time, I would just think about, you see the images in the magazines, and it comes back to that BS filter of like, oh yeah, I'm sure this didn't go through any other piece of software before it was taken to the page.
Right.
So to whereas when we're working on social media, and you're mentioning, boomerangs and even story videos, seeing it in motion conveys a lot more legitimacy for, how does this product function, how does it look in 360 degrees, how does it look in context, so
Yeah.
just a brief snippet of somebody living their life,
Yeah.
10 seconds out of my brunch, turns into content for a lot of people, and
Yeah.
part of the marketing.
Exactly. Yeah. I do a lot of, in my product descriptions, I say a lot of, you can wear this here and do this. And so I try to put myself in those situations in real life. So it's not like, oh, that's BS. Like, she wouldn't wear that to brunch. No, I'm actually wearing it to brunch. And you can see, just because it makes you want to buy it. Like, I want to see you actually enjoying the outfit. It's not just an outfit sometimes. Sometimes it's a mood, sometimes it's a vibe, and you want to carry that into whatever you're doing.
Yeah, actually, one clever idea I saw, and again, I haven't bought a new piece of clothing in like 6 years, but so maybe I should have looked at more stores to triangulate this theory. But one of the ways that you differentiated or you tagged it was like shopping by event, or
Yeah.
it's almost like shopping by purpose.
Yeah.
Is that common in the clothing niche? Because I think this is a really clever idea.
I've only seen it with, it's been very few brands that I've actually seen that with, but that's really what I was excited about having this brand for, because I want to dress people for these different moments in their life. And ideally, when someone's shopping nowadays, most cases they're looking for either a vacation outfit, birthday dress, when it's the holidays, New Year's, Christmas types of outfits. So really thinking of the customer standpoint, like, I know my customer is busy. They want to get to the item quickly. They don't want to spend so much time browsing for something. So actually curating collections based on these different things they might be doing, I found has been very helpful for them.
Right. Yeah. So I don't have a window open, so I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. But we're talking about things like going to work, running errands, meeting for dinner, meeting for brunch, stuff along those lines. It What I think it does too is it communicates a level of understanding to the customer about, we know what your day to day life is. I think it also promotes a lifestyle too. Like, if I'm looking through this and I'm like, well, okay, I don't go for brunch that often, but this is it's in the back of my mind now. It's something to think about. So it gets a lot of done. I just thought that was really a smart take on it.
Thank
Now,
you.
you're welcome. So I've made it an effort to like not get into the woo woo stuff too often on the show. There's like early phase ecomonics. There was a while where I think I might have just like made it was like some ayahuasca in the water or something like that, and then I kind of like trimmed it down. But I do want to talk about it because we haven't talked about it in a while, and I like bringing it up. So manifestation is it comes true. It's hard to believe that because it's largely an act of faith, but it really does happen. So can you share your manifestation experience with us?
Yeah, so I love talking about this stuff too. So I actually started my spiritual journey in 2017, and meaning I started focusing more on not what I've always known, but just the whole scheme of everything. So even if something doesn't make sense, recognizing that it doesn't mean it's not real. So um, being more intentional with my thoughts and how I think about things and what I think is possible that can happen in my life, even if I don't see $1 million home in front of me, knowing that just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not real. So I really started getting into those ideas in 2017. I was working in a job that was not my favorite in retail. And early mornings, I was doing shipments. So I would come in at 5 in the morning, unboxing things, merchandising, dressing mannequins, all of that. So I started really listening to more podcasts and learning more about these ideas of the fact that you can think things into existence. If you're thinking, I want a new car, you're going to be placed in opportunities that will allow you to get the car. Not saying it just comes to you magically, but the God is going to put things in place for you to be able to achieve that. So since then, I've really been more intentional with that idea. And with Ebb and Flow, I like I said before, whenever my first clothing business kind of went down, I knew I was going to start a boutique, but I didn't know anything outside of I want a boutique. So the name actually just randomly came to me. And the idea of what I wanted to do came to me when I was just out one night and I was like, oh my gosh, like these girls look so cute. And I could sell clothes like that. Like I could do this. They're buying things for events and I could do the same thing. So just knowing that, having the faith that eventually I said I want to have a boutique, eventually I'm going to have a boutique. Just relax, enjoy your life, have fun, and don't stress about it. So that's really the mindset that I took on with manifesting, because the key in manifesting is just having the faith that's already happened. So don't stress about it and know that it's coming. Even if it comes 5 years later, it's still coming. So that's really the, not to get too woo on your podcast, but that's really how I think about things at this point.
Oh, you'd be surprised what I've allowed in the past.
Okay.
Yeah. I think so. To make it tangible for our more skeptical audience, and just so my longtime audience understands, is that I've gone on a whole manifestation journey throughout this podcast. I think if anybody's listened to each episode individually, they know what I mean. And setting an intention, a lot of that is also just the ability to program myself from the inside out to be committed to a task so absolutely that I believe that it's going to get done, and to trust that feeling in my gut, that it's going to come true. For me, the last time I really like dug deep and focused, I ended up meeting the love of my life.
Oh,
and
wow.
and they come in, it comes in different shapes and forms. It's not always like a clear path. Like if I ask for a Ferrari, I might end up with a Honda Civic, which is like, okay, you know what? Okay, not to relate that to like the whole relationship thing. I'm not trying to draw a comparison there whatsoever. It was really more like a Mustang versus Ferrari. But point being is that it does come true, but along the way, it also provides a lesson about what exactly do we desire, and what is it that we really want deep down, and how honest we're being with ourselves as well.
It's really about being clear on, like you said, what you want, because a lot of us, at least I know when I first started getting into manifesting, I had no idea what I really wanted. I wasn't so specific to say what I wanted my life to look like. And I think that's the main thing is really goal setting and just being clear on your intentions so you know where you're going and not just kind of flailing out here. So
Yeah.
I have a vision board that I look at every day. And I mean, looking back on it, things have come true on it, but it's just for me keeping that clear tunnel vision on what it is that I actually want and not just saying, well, I want to be rich. Okay, well, how much money do I want to make? Because rich is different levels for everybody. Or I want to have freedom. Okay, well, what does freedom look like for you? So just really focusing on what it is that you actually want and not just a very basic idea.
Okay. Um, I think I know what a vision board is, but I don't like what does your vision board look like exactly?
So this is a tradition I started for myself for New Year's Eve. I just get a poster board and basically some people will go into a magazine or go on the internet and just Google images of what they want for that year. So in my case, I actually do a little mock-up situation. So if I want 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which I just hit,
Nice.
I put thank you. So I take a picture of my YouTube channel and I kind of scratch out whatever subscribers I had at the time and then put in 1,000 and just really visualizing what it's actually going to look like when I hit that and just kind of ingraining it. Your mind really doesn't know what's once you ingrain something, your mind doesn't know it's not so. So it's up to you to just trust it, let it be. If your mind believe in it, just believe it and have that faith. But basically, a vision board is just visual images of everything that you actually want. Just copy and paste it on. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be a digital thing. You can use Pinterest and make your own vision boards there, or it's all kinds of things you can do, but just really having the images of what it is you want laid out.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I actually was thinking about Pinterest. That makes sense. Even just doing like a digital collage, throw
Yeah.
something up, open it in Photoshop, and have that reference material. And I guess for me, the bottom line on this is even if you don't believe or you don't have a faith based system. By the way, you're wrong about that. But if you, it's okay. But even having like a very clear image in our mind of what it is that we're working towards, is self programming, and it really does make a significant difference.
Yeah, it does. Even affirmations, listening to those in the morning and just programming your mind to think positively and not focusing so much on the negative is the key to it all. And having gratitude for what you have and not being so much in a feeling of want and need and just in I'm just enjoying my life today and these things are things that I want and of course I want them to happen today, but I know they're going to happen when they're meant to.
Yeah, yeah. When the universe is finished rendering it,
Yeah,
that's when it comes.
exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's also a fantastic lesson in about getting what we want. There's only so many lessons a person can learn when they don't get what they want.
Yeah.
So once we actually do get the things that we intend for, it's a whole new. I mean, it's a life changing thing, and it really starts to teach a person new things. So, all of that, which is to say, is you can envision success, and it comes, and you better be ready for it because it is going to bring on its whole new set of challenges.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. So we'll table the rest until I set up my my woo woo podcast. We'll see
Yeah.
when that takes shape. So you said that you were doing influencing work prior to running your own. I guess I'd like to hear more about that because influencers are pretty important in the e-commerce space. So like you were contracted out, brands were reaching out to you, and was it you using your persona and being on video, being on images. Yeah, I'd like to know more about how that worked.
Yeah. So when I first started influencing, it was I was signed up with a few platforms that are like influencer agencies. So brands can basically go through like a catalog of influencers that they want to work with or that embody their brand. So I don't even remember what I was on back then, but I was on a few of those. So I would have certain brands reach out to me and say, "Hey, we found you on." Usually, in most cases, they found me through Instagram through hashtags. So we found you through this hashtag. We really like your style, and if you're on Instagram at all, you get these comments from all these spam accounts. It wasn't like that. Usually, an email from someone, and they say we're doing this kind of campaign. We'll be interested in working with you, and it just really blossomed from there. Like I said, I enjoy content creation, so it really was just me naturally taking pictures of things, even if I didn't work with the brand, just enjoying their product, taking pictures, saying why I liked it, and the brand usually will reach out and say, "Hey, we really enjoyed that content you created for us. Can you do this? But we have these kind of guidelines and stipulations of things you can and cannot do." But yeah, that's what I did. That's what really brought me to this point of knowing how to create content and knowing what brands are really looking for, and then me as a brand knowing what I'm looking for when I start bringing on my own influencers.
And so you said that you had signed up. It was like it was an agency that you were working with,
Yeah,
and they would reach out to you. See, that's
yeah,
interesting. So I would wonder if I'm me particularly, not so much because I don't post on my personal Instagram all that often. But what I like about this is for people who are naturally extroverted in that way and they like to promote themselves on social media. You sign up for one of these agencies and either they take you or they don't. It's not like
yeah.
I would have to like adjust my persona or anything to try to get signed with them. It's just a matter of like these are my. I like the idea of an agency actually looking at somebody and discerning what are their qualities,
Hmm.
and so it's a way of even figuring out what assets have been available to me that maybe I didn't realize because I'm just taking
Exactly.
pretty pictures.
Yeah, it's just really, as an influencer, the most important thing is being you fully. Don't try to be anyone else because the brand is looking for someone like you if they're choosing to work with you. So that's what I like about it as well, is just embodying your true personality. And if the brand fits and you fit the brand, because I wasn't always saying yes to everything. That's one thing I took seriously because I knew I had a platform that people are actually coming to me and saying, I tried this thing. So I'm not going to take on something that I don't believe in or that I'd never actually used or I don't actually like. So just really knowing, it's give and take, knowing who you are, and then also the brand knowing who they are, and then knowing who you are in turn.
And on the other side of that, did working with them teach you anything about your personality that didn't occur to you prior?
Yeah, some of them, like I worked with a beauty brand, and I really at the time wasn't super into makeup. I had bad acne and I was so self-conscious about my skin, but didn't realize how self-conscious I was until I started working with someone who they want you to take pictures of your skin and your makeup and all these things. So really getting into more into skincare at that point because I'm like, okay, well, their products are actually helping my skin. And now I'm seeing like what I actually care about because I didn't really care so much about acne. Like I knew I had it and I just dealt with it and wasn't gonna try. I've tried everything, whatever. But seeing that there's other things out there that can help and just really it helped me get into a self-care routine and that I didn't even know I could create for myself.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm lucky. I don't really get acne on my face.
Yeah,
Rest of my body, not so lucky, but luckily I don't need to use that
yeah,
for when I'm on camera. So thank you, body. I agree to this.
yeah.
And there's something I can't say that I've ever thought about this before because I don't think about the influencer side too often. But so you were saying that this brand it had helped the skincare products, it had helped you out, and I think there's a lot of people in those situations where for one reason or another there's 100 reasons why people don't want acne on their face. I've yet to meet somebody who prefers to have it on there. God bless them. If anybody is like that, podcast at debutify.com. Let me know. I'd love to hear your point of view. But a lot of people, there's a disconnect between the problem and then the solution. And that's where I think influencers can do a lot of positive, a lot of good for culture in general, is to um, reach out to the people that they're uniquely reaching out to that other people are not, and convey solutions to those problems. So it's a way of networking. The products, which is another way of saying the solutions to problems, networking those solutions to the people who are in need of them. So what I would say is if somebody has the means to be an influencer, it's a pretty like a low barrier for entry as far as I know, and I think a lot of people can end up doing a lot of good in that space.
Oh,
Because
for
I don't know,
sure.
I hear influencer and I always like I go to like the negative side of it right
You
away, where
do.
they are
Yeah,
a fake persona and they're just using it to market products, and it's unfortunate, but
yeah,
influencers can actually do a lot of good.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I rather shop with someone, a brand that I've seen the person and I relate to them. If you're following someone on Instagram, you relate to them in some way. In most cases, you want to see what they're up to, you want to see their content. So if I see you using this product and you're saying how great it is, and I already trust you as a person, I'm gonna be more likely to want to shop with the brand themselves because of that. Not the brand saying, well, this helps with this and this helps with that. I want to see someone actually saying this helped me with this. And it's more of a relaxed tone. Like it feels like you're talking to a friend or a friend's talking to you and sharing something that they found was really great, like any other friend would do in most cases. A friend has probably said, hey, I just tried this. I want you to try it too. I think you'll like it. It's the same. It's really the same. But yeah, there is a negative connotation because some influencers are really, you can tell when it's not genuine.
Yeah. Did you, last influencer question, because then I have some questions about the function of your website, which is, did you find that being natural, well, came naturally to you, or was it like a learning process and how to, it's such a paradox of a question, like
Yeah.
learning how to be natural, but
Yeah.
I hope you understand what I'm trying to get here.
I understand exactly what you're saying. So I was an only child. So funny, but not so funny thing about me as a kid is I used to like practice having radio shows and like being interviewed for TV shows and things just for entertainment.
Yeah, I'm
And
31. I still do that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I still do it.
yeah.
So it really, at the time, I didn't realize how much it actually carried into me growing up. And I used to actually be very shy. So I'm still kind of shy, but not to the extent that I was. So I always tell people if you're starting off wanting to share more about yourself, start interviewing yourself or narrating your life. If you're making coffee, okay, I'm about to pour the milk and do this. And that's really what primed me into what I'm able to do today. But yeah, it definitely takes practice to not be so nervous and and care so much about what others are going to think. But yeah, just really talking to yourself is what primed me to be here.
Yeah, okay. That again, I never really thought about that. I
Yeah.
mean, I was doing it because I'm always having like arguments in my mind. I have like I have like different avatars of depending on how difficulty I want my arguments to be. Because like
Yeah.
there's certain people that I've talked to in the past that are unreasonable and are basically like thugs, but it's really hard to argue with them. So if I want to go on like level 4, I will argue with somebody who's like an unfair fight. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's the best practice.
All right, so last thing we're gonna do in the time that I've got left is I just wanted to run through some of the I guess practices or principles, rules, regulations, whatever you want to call them, in regards to your website, just so people understand what goes into it and some of the results that you've seen. So I'm actually surprised, over 100 episodes done so far, and I've never talked to anybody about Afterpay or like
Oh yeah.
the pay as you go plans. I don't know how it's gone this far. Like it's been almost a year. Like I'm impressed and disappointed. Anyways, so so we all know what it is, but what's been your take on it, and how is it reflected? The goods, the bads, with your business.
So my take on it is me as a consumer, I used to be afraid of any kind of paying for, mostly because I assumed, okay, well, they're going to run my credit and I don't need that. So no, learning that that's not the case and learning that you can actually pay in 4 installments as long as you're paying on time, you have no stipulations at all. It made me more privy to have it on my site. So I think my customers see that as more of a trust factor since you do have to be approved to offer these different things on your website. So when they see that, okay, Afterpay's approved this person to use it, I'm gonna trust it more. It's like a security thing. They feel more secure because you have to pay through Afterpay. They're not paying through my website. And I most of my customers use some kind of paying for service on my site, even if it's something that's super low cost, just because I think in people's minds, if they're going on a shopping spree or doing something, they see, okay, I'm only paying $20 for this $50 order today. And they see that as them saving money in some way, shape, or form, which you are in a sense, but not at the same time. So that's my take on it. Definitely very positive. The negative would be the fees that you pay as a merchant. They are typically higher than what you would pay just using whatever your website's payment provider is. But the benefits are having more customers, and most of these different services have their own directory of stores, and most of my traffic actually comes from those. Um,
Oh, right.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, people like on the site, like I'm trying to, or on the app, usually trying to find a place to shop with, and they will feature you on their directory. So that's always a bonus. So I don't see really any cons that would say don't do it.
That's massive. I never realized that.
Yeah,
These services, they need people to make these purchases, and so the onus is on them to be promoting these other websites, these other stores such as yourself.
yeah.
So when you said that it can save money, it took me a moment to figure out exactly how. I mean, yeah, they're not paying the full $50 now,
Yeah.
but they're paying it eventually. Where I think I would argue for savings is if the product or the solution to the problem is a net gain sooner than later. Let's just say, for instance, I got a job interview and it's come on, Joseph, this is your job. And it's an expensive suit. I might not have $1,000 to put down right away. Actually, I should probably buy a cheaper suit. But the point is that suit will actually be much more useful right away rather than later down the line when I no longer have the interview. So I can see a case there is if I get it sooner, then the inherent value is applied sooner, and that means my productivity may increase, and therefore I can save money by not being in a less gainful situation.
Absolutely. Like paying $20 today and then another 20 in 2 weeks is definitely more, sounds better to me than just doing the full amount. And it actually makes them want to shop more and make higher purchase values and shop with other businesses because they are, in a sense, saving money at that time.
And so I guess if I'm what I would do then, and I'm sorry, and this is now a question that I would have to really more ask them. Actually, I can make a note. Micah, as you're editing this, can you make a list and maybe we want to talk to the Afterpay people? Anyways, so I guess if I'm making purchases on them, I would have like an account on Afterpay. And so then I'm actually tracking like multiple purchases made in different places. So it's like I'm consolidating my payments into one spot and then it's disseminated out. So at least that's my gut reaction. I don't know. I have to look
Yeah,
into
that's
that.
exactly. I didn't even think about it that way, but yeah, it's definitely easy to keep track of everything because they have an app and it's going to tell you, hey, your payment's coming out in 3 days, and if you need to update your card, and that's it. So yeah, it definitely helps you keep track in a sense of how much you're spending and what your shopping spree looks like.
See, okay, so that's my con, and it's more like my worry, which ties into the grander issue of even paying for things on a credit card, is how it might condition somebody to change their lifestyle. It's
Yeah,
like
overspend.
yeah, there was a word for it. I saw it was like lifestyle creep, um, where if I'm now getting into the habit of like acquiring more expensive things sooner because I can pay it off more slowly. If I start getting into that habit, that I worry that can come crashing down. Like I've been tempted to like do a payment program for like a new mattress, and I've never crossed that threshold just because it's such a big purchase. But the other thing too is paying for it all at once is also kind of a hard pill to swallow. So I don't know. It's an interesting concept, and it's definitely got its value. So I would say, sellers, especially for people looking for any advantage to differentiate themselves in the market, a willingness to be on that program, I think makes a difference. Have you been able to spot if like once people are making those purchases, do they ever get off that program and just buy things directly, or for the most part, people start there, they kind of stay there?
Sometimes I've noticed that customers will start off obviously paying just like they would on any other website. And then when they do try Afterpay, usually in most cases, it's their first time trying a pay in four service and they see how it actually works. And then from there, that's it. They're just using that. So more than not, I see them using the service after they try it out.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why. Okay, so here's the other one that I thought was sound tactically, which was your returns and exchange policy. So initially seeing it is returns are good for store credit.
Yeah.
So the positive there is that, once the money is invested into your business in that way, it's kept, even if it is, recirculated. They have to get it back, and they spend it again, back and forth. One way or another, like you've gotten in your, and the money is in your hands, which is good. Thumbs up to that. The negative is that I can also see if it's prohibitive for some people, because especially in clothing, right? It's a lot of it could be a lot of trial and error. So how was this the strategy from right away, or were you trying different methods first? And I think it's really important for people to figure out, what do you do about your return? So let us have it.
When I launched my boutique, we were really in the height of the pandemic, so I wasn't taking any returns at all. And from there, I wasn't really getting so many people wanting to return, so it really wasn't an issue. But as things started opening up, and just knowing myself as a consumer, if I'm not able to return something, I don't want to shop there, especially online shopping. This was my first take into a return policy. And so far, I haven't had any issues, especially because most people want to return something because it doesn't fit, they want a different size, or they want to try something else. So just kind of knowing the return reasons, and actually have a platform that allows people to say why they're returning something, has been super helpful in planning for if I decide to change this policy, like knowing the reasons why and knowing if this is the right fit or if it needs to be changed. So just thinking about other stores that have the same policy where they only give you a store credit, is kind of building off of that, especially if they are places that my customer shops. That's where I really started. And we'll see. At this point, this is very new. It's been in the works for about 2 or 3 months, but so far hasn't been any issues. So fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it also goes to show with what we talked about, throughout the episode is, seeing it in action, seeing, candid photos of it, having a very clear understanding of it, and also the quality of the material too, right? Coming back to the beginning, it's by having a stretchier fabric, and having some element of utility to it. I think what happens in some cases, and correct me if I'm wrong, I may receive something and it doesn't solve problems A through F, but if it solves problems A through C or A through D, all right, that's good enough. It's not worth the headache of trying to going through the return and risking a visit to the post office.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I feel most people's mindset is.
Yeah. So it's like, the more worried a person is about the return policy, the more worried they should be about the product in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah. So I really work hard to make sure there's descriptions, size charts. I don't really alter colors and things so they look different, just so people know exactly what they're going to get without trying it on.
All right. So one for you, and then we can start wrapping this one up. So this one had to do with, if you remember earlier, what I was saying is that my understanding of a boutique is always about supply control. So one of the things I noticed is that, you have like 2 sections. There's an almost gone section and then a new arrival section. And what I was wondering is how much of that is in your hands? Is it like just basically on the suppliers, on the whims of the suppliers? I think a lot of it maybe had to do with the fashion industry. So how much of that do you actually get control over?
Pretty much all of it.
Okay, cool.
The almost gone section is basically any items that are kind of just hanging on. There's one left, and in most cases, it's people that are size small that I have left. And just, humans thrive off of urgency. So knowing that something is about to be gone, and I really don't do too many restocks, or I haven't at this point, because like you said, boutiques have a low supply. The idea is to have things that don't continue to come back, because you don't want to look like everyone else and you don't want to sell like everyone else. So so that the almost gone section is really just like completely just me really taking inventory and seeing, okay, what do I have that's literally about to be out of here? And then new arrivals is just that new things, new styles that just came in.
Yeah, like I've done some time in the retail sector, mostly around watches. One store I worked at was watches, but there's also purses, so you can always tell which side of the store I really wanted to be more on. And I mean, I understood, new styles need to come in, but I always thought there really should be like a collection of some go-tos. especially in the functional sense. Like the one that I was wearing, it was a digital watch, and I loved it, and I still have it to this day. It's almost 10 years old now, and it's still working. And so like that one would always, to me, would always been one that I would have had an easy time selling, because the longer I have it, the more there's a story for it. So is anything along those lines? Like, is there a core selection, or is everything ebbing and flowing?
When I first started, there really was like a core selection. Like I'm always gonna have sets for the most part. I'm always gonna have, like you say, functional pieces, but for the most part, there's really no sets. This is for this is for that. It's more so this style would be great for this, or if you're looking for something comfortable and stretchy, these types of items will be perfect for that, but never like a just straight go-to type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, they all follow a similar rule set. So
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, cool. Well, that is the last question that I had prepped. But just in case, was there anything else cool, interesting about our? Oh, okay, about the store. If there's anything else you want us to know, and then I actually wanted to ask you another Florida question. So, one more chance, just let us know anything else interesting about our store. You're welcome to let us know. And then there's something I personally really want to know about Florida.
Oh man. No, just if you want to keep up with Ebb and Flow, you can follow us, shop Ebb and Flow on Instagram. If you want to see the behind the scenes, you can follow _Ebony Hunter on Instagram. And I'm always sharing tips for other business owners on my YouTube channel as well as my life. So if that's what you're looking for, if you're interested in starting any kind of business, that's where you can find.
Well, I mean, and I would recommend the audience do that, because like what I did today, and again, I'm in the the working from home office niche. So it's pretty far removed from clothing, because technically I don't have to wear them most of the time. But even so, there's still a lot of practices and regulations and rules that I think are really important to study. And so there's, even just in this conversation today, there's stuff that I'm taking away from it that would apply to mine. So I expect my audience to do the same. And okay, so my girlfriend and I, both of us have some pretty significant vision issues. I'm blind in my left eye, so when I look through it, it's like I'm underwater, and her vision is not much better. In fact, it might be marginally worse. So in order for us to drive, we would need a car with the steering wheel in the middle, and both of us on like the driver's seat and the passenger seat, like working together to. So, I mean, I come from a driver family, and a lot of my friends are drivers. So there's always been a lot of pressure for us, and I ignored that pressure, and now I work remotely, and all my groceries can be delivered, but I do go walking for them anyways. So I was right, but it's still something to think about. So, are there transit-friendly places in Florida? Like the bigger the city, the more transit-friendly it is. Because here in Canada, as much as people take shots repeatedly at the Toronto transit system, it's actually quite good. But I'm just wondering, in Florida, is there anything along those lines?
I would say probably the Tampa area. They definitely they're more of a walkable type of city than I would
Tampa
say.
Bay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I would say Orlando. Same with Miami. It's metro. Miami is like Florida's version of New York, in my opinion. You do see subways and more buses and that sort of thing than you would see where I'm at. So those would be my top. Really, the bigger the city, the more you're going to see. So Orlando is more like touristy. They're assuming people are coming with their families, and minivan and Camrys or whatever Drake said. So it's definitely like, I wouldn't say it's the most transit friendly type of city, but Tampa, Miami, and those types of areas, I would agree with. I would say they are.
Okay. Yeah. I just put up Miami here, it being a coastal metropolis. Here in Toronto, we're coastal in the sense that we're next to a lake. It's not the same thing as being next to body of water, but there's a parallel there that I think is worth looking into. So, so thank you for that. And The last thing that I can toss your way before we get you on out of here is, well, we already told the audience where to find you, so that's cleared. But then if there's any words of wisdom or like a Chinese proverb you really like, you're more than welcome to share it with us, and then we'll let you go.
My advice would be to figure out your why before you start your business, and whatever it is, make sure it's outside of money, because the why is going to be what keeps you going. So if the money's not coming in, if you're new and you're not getting sales, figure out that list of why you're doing this, whether it be freedom to take your kid to school every day or be able to just go to Cheesecake Factory on a Monday and shop. That's literally my fantasy. On just randomly.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, figure out your why outside of money before you start your business, because entrepreneurship is not for the faint-hearted, and it gets difficult, but knowing why you're doing it is going to be what pushes you forward.
And once upon a time, my why was to get into public office and legislate the purge, so I can go clobber all the people that used to pick on me. Much better whys than that. So that's the bar. It's pretty low. I'm sure everybody could do better.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Ebony, this has been a lot of fun. Learned a lot today. A lot of the takeaways from myself, and I couldn't ask for anything better. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This was super fun.
Awesome. Glad to hear. And to our audience, for those of you who are here for the first time, I trust your intuition. And to the rest of you, you know what to do. So take care, and we will check in soon.
At least try to. And, you know, even a few times they've left me.
Hey, this is Joseph from Ecomonics. Just wanted to thank you for being here and for giving this content your time and attention. I hope you learned something. I can say with certainty, I have learned something with every episode that I have done, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. There's a couple things you can do to help us out. If you want to check out the audio content, we are available on all major podcast platform distributors. And while you're there, give us a 5-star review. It helps a lot. And while you're here on YouTube, there's a lot of things you can do to help out as well. It's not going to take very long. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button for this episode, and hit the notification bell so when we have new content for you, it's going to be at your doorstep ASAP. Lastly, this podcast is created by Debutify, the best Shopify template available. It is 100% free for you to start, and it can change your life. It can make you so much more free than you are right now. So if this episode wasn't enough to convince you, I think a few more might do the trick. So have at it.